A man cannot be comfortable without his own approval. A man is never more truthful than when he acknowledges himself a liar. A man who carries a cat by the tail learns something he can learn in no other way. A man's character may be learned from the adjectives which he habitually uses in conversation. A person who won't read has no advantage over one who can't read. A person with a new idea is a crank until the idea succeeds. A round man cannot be expected to fit in a square hole right away. He must have time to modify his shape. Action speaks louder than words, but not nearly as often. Against the assault of laughter, nothing can stand. Age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. All emotion is involuntary when genuine. All generalizations are false, including this one. All you need in this life is ignorance and confidence, and then success is sure. Anger is an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured. Apparently there is nothing that cannot happen today. Be careful about reading health books. You may die of a misprint. Be careless in your dress if you must, but keep a tidy soul. Better a broken promise than none at all. Biographies are but the clothes and buttons of the man. The biography of the man himself cannot be written. But who prays for Satan, who, in 18 centuries, has had the common humanity to pray for the one sinner that needed it most? By land, they're not making it anymore. Cauliflower is nothing but cabbage with a college education. Civilization is the limitless multiplication of unnecessary necessities. Classic. A book which people praise and don't read. Climate is what we expect, weather is what we get. Clothes make the man, naked people have little or no influence on society. Courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear. Denial ain't just a river in Egypt. Do not tell fish stories where the people know you, but particularly, don't tell them where they know the fish. Do the right thing, it will gratify some people and astonish the rest. Do the thing you fear most and the death of fear is certain. Don't let schooling interfere with your education. Don't part with your illusions. When they are gone, you may still exist, but you have ceased to live. Don't say the old lady screamed, bring her on and let her scream. Drag your thoughts away from your troubles, by the ears, by the heels, or any other way you can manage it. Everything has its limit. Iron ore cannot be educated into gold. Everything human is pathetic. The secret source of humor itself is not joy but sorrow. There is no humor in heaven. Facts are stubborn, but statistics are more pliable. Familiarity breeds contempt, and children. Few things are harder to put up with than the annoyance of a good example. Forgiveness is the fragrance that the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. Get your facts first. Then you can distort them as you please. Giving up smoking is the easiest thing in the world, I know because I've done it thousands of times. Go to heaven for the climate, hell for the company. God made the idiot for practice, and then he made the school board. Good friends. Good books and a sleepy conscience. This is the ideal life. Grief can take care of itself, but to get the full value of a joy you must have somebody to divide it with. Honesty is the best policy, when there is money in it. How lucky Adam was, he knew when he said a good thing. Nobody had said it before. Humor is mankind's greatest blessing. Humor must not professedly teach and it must not professedly preach, but it must do both if it would live forever. I am an old man and have known a great many troubles, but most of them never happened. I came in with Halley's Comet in 1835, it is coming again next year, and I expect to go out with it. it will be the greatest disappointment of my life if I don't go out with Halley's Comet, the Almighty has said, no doubt. Now here are these two unaccountable freaks, they came in together. They must go out together. I can live for 2 months on a good compliment. I didn't attend the funeral, but I sent a nice letter saying I approved of it. I don't give a damn for a man that can only spell a word one way. I don't like to commit myself about heaven and hell, you see. I have friends in both places. I have never taken any exercise, except sleeping and resting, and I never intend to take any. I never smoke to excess, that is, I smoke in moderation, only 1 cigar at a time. I was seldom able to see an opportunity until it had ceased to be one. If it's your job to eat a frog, it's best to do it first thing in the morning, and if it's your job to eat 2 frogs, it's best to eat the biggest one first. If man could be crossed with the cat it would improve man, but deteriorate the cat. If the world comes to an end. I want to be in Cincinnati, everything comes there 10 years later. If you hold a cat by the tail you learn things you cannot learn any other way. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. In the first place, God made idiots, that was for practice. Then he made school boards. In the spring, I have counted 136 different kinds of weather inside of 24 hours. India has 2 million gods and worships them all. In religion, all other countries are paupers. India is the only millionaire. It ain't those parts of the Bible that I can't understand that bother me, it is the parts that I do understand. It is better to deserve honors and not have them than to have them and not deserve them. It is better to keep your mouth closed and let people think you are a fool than to open it and remove all doubt. It is by the goodness of God that in our country we have those 3 unspeakably precious things, freedom of speech, freedom of conscience, and the prudence never to practice either of them. It is curious that physical courage should be so common in the world and moral courage so rare. It is easier to stay out than get out. It usually takes me more than 3 weeks to prepare a good impromptu speech. It were not best that we should all think alike, it is difference of opinion that makes horse races. It's no wonder that truth is stranger than fiction, fiction has to make sense. It's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. Laws control the lesser man, right conduct controls the greater one. Let us endeavor so to live so that when we come to die even the undertaker will be sorry. Let us make a special effort to stop communicating with each other, so we can have some conversation. Life would be infinitely happier if we could only be born at the age of 80 and gradually approach 18. Lord, save us all from old age and broken health and a hope tree that has lost the faculty of putting out blossoms. Loyalty to petrified opinion never yet broke a chain or freed a human soul. Loyalty to the nation all the time, loyalty to the government when it deserves it. Man is the only animal that blushes, or needs to. Man was made at the end of the week's work, when God was tired. Many a small thing has been made large by the right kind of advertising. My books are like water, those of the great geniuses are wine. Fortunately, everybody drinks water. My mother had a great deal of trouble with me, but I think she enjoyed it. Name the greatest of all inventors, accident. Necessity is the mother of taking chances. Never pick a fight with people who buy ink by the barrel. Never put off till tomorrow what you can do the day after tomorrow. No sinner is ever saved after the first 20 minutes of a sermon. Noise proves nothing, often a hen who has merely laid an egg cackles as if she laid an asteroid. Nothing so needs reforming as other people's habits. Often it does seem such a pity that Noah and his party did not miss the boat. Only kings, presidents, editors, and people with tapeworms have the right to use the editorial "we." Only one thing is impossible for God, to find any sense in any copyright law on the planet. Part of the secret of a success in life is to eat what you like and let the food fight it out inside. Patriot, the person who can holler the loudest without knowing what he is hollering about. Patriotism is supporting your country all the time, and your government when it deserves it. Principles have no real force except when one is well fed. Prosperity is the best protector of principle. She was not quite what you would call refined, she was not quite what you would call unrefined, she was the kind of person that keeps a parrot. Soap and education are not as sudden as a massacre, but they are more deadly in the long run. Sometimes too much to drink is barely enough. Suppose you were an idiot, and suppose you were a member of Congress, but I repeat myself. The best way to cheer yourself up is to try to cheer somebody else up. The difference between the almost right word and the right word is really a large matter, 'tis the difference between the lightning bug and the lightning. The fear of death follows from the fear of life. A man who lives fully is prepared to die at any time. The finest clothing made is a person's own skin, but, of course, society demands something more than this. The 1st of April is the day we remember what we are the other 364 days of the year. The human race has one really effective weapon, and that is laughter. The lack of money is the root of all evil. The main difference between a cat and a lie is that a cat only has 9 lives. The man who does not read good books has no advantage over the man who cannot read them. The man who is a pessimist before 48 knows too much. If he is an optimist after it, he knows too little. The more you explain it, the more I don't understand it. The most interesting information comes from children, for they tell all they know and then stop. The only way to keep your health is to eat what you don't want, drink what you don't like, and do what you'd rather not. The reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated. The right word may be effective, but no word was ever as effective as a rightly timed pause. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. The secret source of humor is not joy but sorrow. There is no humor in heaven. The trouble ain't that there is too many fools, but that the lightning ain't distributed right. The very ink with which history is written is merely fluid prejudice. There are basically 2 types of people who accomplish things, and people who claim to have accomplished things. The first group is less crowded. There are lies, damned lies, and statistics. There are several good protections against temptation, but the surest is cowardice. There is a charm about the forbidden that makes it unspeakably desirable. There is no distinctly American criminal class, except Congress. There is no sadder sight than a young pessimist. Thousands of geniuses live and die undiscovered, either by themselves or by others. Thunder is good, thunder is impressive, but it is lightning that does the work. To be good is noble, but to show others how to be good is nobler and no trouble. Training is everything. The peach was once a bitter almond. Cauliflower is nothing but cabbage with a college education. Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts. Truth is mighty and will prevail. There is nothing wrong with this, except that it ain't so. Truth is stranger than fiction, but it is because fiction is obliged to stick to possibilities. Truth isn't. Truth is the most valuable thing we have, let us economize it. Under certain circumstances, urgent circumstances, desperate circumstances, profanity provides a relief denied even to prayer. We have the best government that money can buy. What is the difference between a taxidermist and a tax collector? The taxidermist takes only your skin. What, sir, would the people of the earth be without woman? They would be scarce. Sir, almighty scarce. When a person cannot deceive himself, the chances are against his being able to deceive other people. When angry, count to 4, when very angry, swear. When in doubt, tell the truth. When people do not respect us, we are sharply offended, yet in his private heart no man much respects himself. When red-haired people are above a certain social grade, their hair is auburn. When we remember we are all mad, the mysteries disappear and life stands explained. When you fish for love, bait with your heart, not your brain. When your friends begin to flatter you on how young you look, it's a sure sign you're getting old. Whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to pause and reflect. Why is it that we rejoice at a birth and grieve at a funeral? It is because we are not the person involved. Work consists of whatever a body is obliged to do, play consists of whatever a body is not obliged to do. Work is a necessary evil to be avoided. Wrinkles should merely indicate where smiles have been. You can't depend on your eyes when your imagination is out of focus.